Goodluck Jonathan Diri Uzodinma Ododo vote in Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi elections. Vice President Shetima sets up ad hoc committee to harmonize Nigeria's position on climate change conference COP28. And reps warn MDAs against laxity in signing deals which undermine revenue. Thank you for joining us on News Now. I am Simisola Atigun. Bayelsa State Governor and PDP candidate Duoye Dere and his counterpart, Governor Uzodinma of Imo State, have expressed satisfaction over the conduct of the off-cycle election in their state. They also praised the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for its management of the polls, while also casting his vote at Ward 13, polling unit 39 in Otuoke, Bayelsa State. Former President Goodluck Jonathan expressed concern over the spate of off-cycle elections in Nigeria, calling on the National Assembly to create a legislature that would align all the elections, as off-cycle elections are not healthy for Nigeria's democracy. Meanwhile, INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu had earlier announced that the elections will hold in 10,470 units across 649 electoral wards in 56 local government areas. At least 126 national and international organizations are accredited, with 11 observers deployed for the elections, while 80 media organizations applied to deploy 1,200 personnel, including journalists and technical/support staff. Well, let's now join election observer Nelson Akujumi, who is in Kogi State, to observe the elections. Mr. Akujumi, thank you for joining us. Now, tell us, what's the current situation in Kogi State? Has counting of votes begun in some polling units? What was the turnout of voters?
Well, thank you very much. The sorting and counting of ballot papers and announcement of results at polling stations has been concluded in several polling stations across the state. So as we speak, we are expecting the results to come in. One has monitored the sorting and counting of ballot papers, as well as the announcement of results by the presiding officer in polling stations. And those results have been entered into Form EC 8A, of which party agents have countersigned and have obtained copies. The security personnel at the polling stations have also gotten their copies, and the INEC personnel have all departed for the RAC, which is the collation center. So right now, collation is going on at the collation centers at the RAC ward level. And I won't expect that that is what is also playing out in several parts of the state. And like you all know, the only authority that can announce results of the election is the Independent National Electoral Commission. So that is much I can say for now.
All right. I would like to ask, there are reports of pre-filled election sheets, pre-filled result sheets in the election, some polling units in Kogi State. What's the current development right now on that case?
Well, we were all privy to that information earlier in the day, and INEC has promised to look into those, that issue. We expect that at the end of the exercise, INEC will, brief the Nigerian people on what transpired, because a lot of us, took it as fake news. But when it continued to, to persist in the media, we said we were availed of the fact that INEC also came, the information also came to INEC notice, and INEC has promised to investigate it and report back to the Nigerian people. You all know that the election is being conducted for the people of Nigeria, not for INEC. So INEC has a responsibility to investigate, and if it is a mischief on the part of people to discredit the election, or if some persons have been found culpable for acts which is against the Electoral Act, one expect that the law will take its due, its due course after INEC must have done its own work and handed over the report to the security agencies, to take, further the prosecution and what have you. So for now, we are all keeping our fingers crossed, expecting INEC to come up with its findings with regards to that issue.
Me, who is an electoral observer in Kogi State, thank you for the information. Following the conduct of the off-cycle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi States, the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, has called on security agencies to exhibit a high level of professionalism and non-partisanship in the discharge of their duties. Member of the CDD Election Analysis Center, Funke Barua, made the call in Abuja during a press conference relating to the governorship elections. Funke says that the need for non-interference cannot be overemphasized, considering incidences of violence recorded in focal states in times past. The CDD also urged the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the judiciary to concentrate on core roles to ensure successful electoral process.
Insecurity is a problem in the country, and we know how it affects the electoral process and other democratic governance processes. Definitely, if we continue to have the trend, and that's why we call on security agencies, we call on INEC to learn from the past elections in 2020, in February 2023, and to use that as a learning curve for this one. But listing the security issues and going all around about them will not solve the problem. What will solve the problem is for critical agencies responsible for the deployment and of electoral materials, for ensuring that voters have access to their polling units in a peaceful manner, behave themselves, and do what is expected of everyone. But I'll also ask if there is anyone else from the team who wants to respond.
Yeah, okay. We want to believe that these 3 states election will hold, and once the INEC did not also do connive, we believe that there will not be any reason for that. There will not also be any reason for the judiciary to also be the one that will be taking the election management, because the way it is now, the judiciary has taken over the role of INEC, and politicians should not be allowed that condition to happen. So let them do the right thing, so that the judiciary will not be the one to be deciding who wins election or who does not win election, because it is not their mandate to be doing that. What happens in Kano is a clear testimony to the fact that judiciary, some of the judicial officials have taken over the role that INEC is supposed to be playing. So we don't want that to happen in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo State.
The national president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Joe Ajaero, has narrated his ordeal in the hands of operatives of the Nigeria Police Force and thugs when he was assaulted during a planned workers' protest in Imo State last week. Ajaero, who gave the account of the incident while briefing journalists at the Pascal Bafiao Labour House in Abuja, said that he was arrested by police personnel from the State Police Command, who beat, blindfolded, and dragged him on the floor. The Labour leader also dispelled rumor that the protest in Imo State was political and insisted that he was there to protest against the unfair labor treatment meted on Imo workers and at the violation of their rights.
I was in the secretariat of the NLC and called some journalists to join, and then some of the officials of the NLC, so that we can address the press on the situation in Imo. It was then that the police led other people, those uniform, mufti, and they came and withdrew about 20 security personnel that were there, would cry to guiding us. And then the policeman arrested me and handed me over to talk. One of his small, I don't know whether that one is sergeant or inspector, said, "Okay, why don't you take him? Don't hand him over to these people." He shouted on the sergeant also and said, "Come on, shut up." And that was how they dragged me on the floor, took me to this boss Imo, and about 7 people. I can't explain the beating, but they tied my nose, tied my eyes, tied everywhere, and were hitting me with all manner of document, and they are asking me why I was challenging hope, that I should say my last prayer, and that they were taking me to call it Njoaba River. That's where they would throw me. You know, that was in the process. I didn't know how the same people carried me to police headquarters, the boss, with their boss, and brought me down there. And the police people were standing outside as if they are waiting for a common criminal.
Meanwhile, the National Industrial Court has issued an order of interim injunction restraining members of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), the Trade Union Congress (TUC), and their affiliates from proceeding with their earlier planned strike action scheduled to commence on Tuesday, November 14. According to reports, the president of the court, Justice Benedict Kanyip, had issued the order on Friday while ruling on an ex parte application brought by Attorney General of the Federation on behalf of the federal government and argued by Tijani Ghazali, the acting director, Civil Appeals at the Federal Ministry of Justice. Justice Kanyip says the order shall subsist until the determination of a motion on notice for interlocutory injunctions equally filed by the AGF. In a move to present a strong position that will benefit Nigeria at the forthcoming COP28 climate change conference in the United Arab Emirates, Vice President Kashim Shettima has constituted an ad hoc committee to harmonize Nigeria's agenda at the event. Speaking during an interaction with stakeholders in his office, the Vice President tasked the committee to come up with a roadmap that will enable Nigeria to benefit maximally from its participation at the conference.
So we're looking at a situation in which we are going to have a cleaner energy in terms of trying to get energy that is based on battery technology that will be linked to our grid, that will now create a sustainable energy that will decarbonize the kind of power and energy that we now operate in Nigeria. So we have the presentation, which is in the form of trying to just express an interest. So the committee has been set up to look at it and come up with a roadmap that will actually bring that particular expression of interest to an actionable document, which we are now going to use in COP. So I've been given 1 week within which to sit down and look at the interest which has been submitted, look at the document, break the document into actionable structure, and now come back to the Vice President for his approval. So based on that, we are likely going to now sign it, and that will now be the basis of which we are going to negotiate for some funding from participation in COP. The main target is that we are trying to now have an energy, put an energy in the grid that will now help light almost for that. We are now going to now see power failure as a thing of the past. So what we are going to do is going to be like what we call UPS. Whenever there's so-called power failure, then something just takes off. So in essence, there will not be any power failure again once this is done.
The House of Representatives Committee on Inland Waterways says it is determined to employ legislative measures and oversight activities to tackle the root causes of frequent boat mishaps in Nigeria. Chairman of the committee, Ojema Ojotu, made this commitment during the inaugural meeting of the House panel in Abuja, marking the official commencement of the committee's sitting in the 10th National Assembly. Highlighting the alarming report of deaths resulting from boat mishaps, Ojotu assures that the committee will address the issue comprehensively through effective oversight of relevant government agencies and the implementation of necessary legislations.
This media inaugural meeting is to officially signal the commencement of the committee activities, to familiarize ourselves with other members of the committee and to acquaint ourselves with the mandate and jurisdiction of the committee, which includes oversight of Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and its parastatal, save those assigned to other committees. Oversight of Inland Waterways, oversight of National Inland Waterways Authority, Marine Service Annual Budget Estimate. I'm therefore enjoining you to show patriotism and commitment by fully participating in committee activities when the need arises, as we look forward to using our mandate to transform the economic fortune of Nigeria.
This committee has a mandate of saying that we leave this committee or leave NIWA better than we are meeting it today. By my statistics, NIWA is doing some contribution, but I think it's still very low. One of the success stories of this committee will be that in the next year, in the next 2 years, that we have been able to improve revenue generation from NIWA by 50%, by 100%, as it were.
Lawmakers have warned that it will not take it lightly with any government agency that undermines revenue generation, while lamenting the shortfalls in government earnings in recent times. Chairman of the House Committee on Finance, James Faleke, issues the warning at an interactive session with heads of ministries, departments and agencies on the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. According to him, the committee is committed to ensuring value for money, which is attained in all government agreement.
I want to know from you, did you give permission to CAC to register your assets in personal name, Nigerian assets? Because what I can see here is that even some of them, they were working as civil servants when this was registered. Well, some of them, they were civil servants, and some have retired. But as it is by law, they are the owners of Post Properties and Post Transport Limited. Can you please confirm what's responsible for this? And if you want to create a subsidiary, should the subsidiary come in personal names of individuals not known to, who never made contributions to the assets?
The question you raised is precisely why I did say earlier on in my remarks that there is an opportunity for this committee to really partner with us to regularize a lot of the irregularities that exist and persist in our system. That is just one example. There are many other examples where such anomalies exist and have persisted for many years. The simple answer to your question, Honorable Chairman, is that the answer is no. When you register an entity, especially a federal government-owned entity, the shareholder must be MOFI. As dated as the MOFI Act is, the very fundamental basis for that act talked about easements and rights. And so anything that federal government owns shares in, it should have been registered under MOFI.
Meanwhile, Minister of Environment Abbas Balarabe has voiced deep concern over the escalating rate of pollution in Nigeria. Speaking in Abuja on Thursday, Balarabe pledges government's commitment to reversing the alarming trend as he highlights pollution as one of the most pressing environmental issues not only in Nigeria but globally. He assures that his ministry will collaborate with state governments to tackle the menace while disclosing plans to utilize waste as a resource, converting it to wealth for the country. Balarabe also addressed the Ogoni cleanup, saying the federal government will start a new community development program there, which will involve all stakeholders.
Last time I was going through, we are rated as very, very badly in the area of pollution, garbage, and the rest of it. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to turn that garbage into life. We are trying to create an economy that will not allow for garbage. An economy that will take that garbage and make it into wealth. So that's what I think they are trying to come up with, and I think it's something that is now becoming international.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, NSCDC's Joy Abiye wins the 2023 Lagos Women's Marathon for the second time. Stay with us, we'll return shortly. Welcome back. Here's a recap of our top stories. Bayelsa State Governor and PDP candidate Doye and his counterpart, Governor Edo of Imo State, have expressed satisfaction over the conduct of the election in their various states. They also praised the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for its management of the polls, while also casting his vote at Ward 13 polling unit 39 in Otoke, Bayelsa State. Former President Goodluck Jonathan expressed concern over the spate of off-cycle elections in Nigeria, calling on the National Assembly to create a legislature that would align all the elections, as off-cycle elections are not healthy for Nigeria's democracy. We also told you that Vice President Kashim Shettima has constituted an ad hoc committee to harmonize Nigeria's agenda at the forthcoming COP28 climate change conference in the United Arab Emirates. Speaking during an interaction with stakeholders in his office, the Vice President tasked the committee to come up with a roadmap that will enable Nigeria to benefit maximally from its participation at the conference. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletins, or for more updates, you can catch us on Linex World TV or log onto our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store and Huawei App Gallery. On Facebook, we're TV360 Online. On business, 4 million micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, women and youth in Nigeria are set to get a boost of 30 billion naira commitment from the Office of the Vice President in partnership with Access Bank. This disclosure was made by the Group Managing Director of Access Bank, Roosevelt Ogbonna, during an interview with journalists after a meeting with the Vice President at the Presidential Villa on Friday in Abuja. According to Ogbonna, the program would benefit 700,000 to 1 million, while overall 4 million deserving MSMEs, youths, and some women will be directly impacted.
We do agree and determine that about 66% of SMEs in Nigeria are owned by women and youth. And I think one of the challenges that they face is access to finance. Working with the Office of the Vice President, we've agreed today that Access Bank will provide about 30 billion towards supporting SMEs and youth. We will expect that this money will be done at discounted rates to commercial terms. And we want to see how we can truly have a positive impact to this segment of the Nigerian economy. We do expect that this will impact at least 4 million people, given the 4 different programs we're doing. So this is not just about lending. We're building capacity by training the youths. We're ensuring that we can empower them through financing. We're also ensuring that we can find new markets for these SMEs so that any product or service that they come up with, they can find an outlet for it. And I think ultimately where the global best practice does not exist in Nigeria, we will do training programs that will take them beyond the shores of Nigeria so they can be better when they return. Financing, we expect maybe about 700 to 1 million people will be impacted, but overall the program will impact about 4 million SME youths and women. The Vice President made it clear that he wants women to be part of this conversation.
Giving out these loans, naira, 30 billion naira. So they're giving out these loans at a discounted rate of between 15 to 17%, So this is a viable alternative for MSMEs. And it's not a program that we will need to have another conference or a meeting for. It starts now.
On the international scene, violence against civilians in Sudan is verging on pure evil. A senior United Nations official has warned after nearly 7 months of war has left a wave of destruction with at least half of the population in need of humanitarian aid. According to the UN Humanitarian Coordinator for Sudan, nearly 6 million people have been uprooted from their country and have been internally displaced since the civil war escalated between the Sudanese army and paramilitary rapid support forces RSF in April. The UN official added that people fleeing to neighboring Chad had also reported cases of ethnically driven killings taking place in Sudan's West Darfur, with the RSF taking over the main army base in the state capital, El Geneina. Well, it's now time for Entertainment Report on News Now.
Nigerian Afrobeat star David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, is over the moon as he has finally become a Grammy nominee. The OBO Krona bagged a total of 3 nominations at the 66 Grammys. Celebrating his achievement, the elated singer wrote via his X handle, 3 nominations at the Grammys, the lay is not denial. His 4th studio album, Timeless, was nominated in the Best Global Music Album category, while Unavailable and Few were nominated in the Best African Music Performance and Best Global Music Performance categories respectively. In the Best African Music Performance category, he will face off with other Nigerian artists Ashake, Ira Star, Burna Boy, and South Africa's Tyler. American actress and singer Keke Palmer has received full custody of her and Darius Jackson's 8-month-old son. Her appeal for a restraining order against him has also been approved. The actress received temporary sole custody of their son Leodis Andrelton Jackson on Friday, November 10, 2023. The court also demanded that Jackson hand over his guns and firearms to the police within the next 124 hours, which will be stored until the case is over. On Thursday, November 9, 2023, Palmer filed for full custody of their son on allegations of domestic abuse by her baby daddy. She claims that Jackson has been physically abusive towards her for the past 2 years, adding that the abuse continued even after Leo's birth, and the most recent abuse was merely a few days ago. And that's all on the entertainment segment of News Now. Okpayemi Owosheni, TV360 News.
And Sports Joy Abiy of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has emerged the winner of the 2023 Lagos Women Run for the second time. The Plateau-born runner clocked in a time of 33 minutes 14 seconds to win the 10-kilometer Lagos Women Run in 2021 and receive the cash prize of 1 million naira. Long-distance runner and winner of the local marathoners at the 2023 Access Bank Lagos 16 Marathon, Deborah Pam, emerged the first runner-up.
Lagos Women Run has come to stay. You see what the state government is doing, and this is the only way you can bring women together, network women, and you make them to love themselves, you make them to celebrate themselves. I mean, in this edition, we saw a lot of new initiatives where women were able to learn some empowerment programs, and that's what we stand for. We are going to support women, and women will continue to be strong. Lagos Women Run is ready to do that, while the state government is there to support us. That's why Lagos Women Run still remain as one of the biggest women gathering when it comes to fitness in Africa.
In line with the Team Agenda Plus of Mr. Governor, gender equality, this is an opportunity for all our women to come and showcase to us what they have. Dancing, running, doing everything. It's an opportunity for them to have a feel of what is done in world sports.
Yeah, I train for it, and I encourage myself. When my coach give me training, I do my training as I'm supposed to do it, and today I escaped through.
Well, that's it on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I'm Simisola Adigun.